been lied to your whole life. The so-called victors wrote your history books. Ask yourself, why can't we question anything about you-know-who? Why can't we talk about who really controls the banks, the media, the economy? They want you hopeless, dependent, numb. You're just a cog. But you can still wake up. If you have the courage to see through the lies of the puppet masters.
James, what are you listening to?
It's nothing, Dad. Just a podcast. This guy's hysterical.
Notice, if there's money or power involved, the same tiny group is right there. But hey, say that out loud and suddenly you're the bad guy.
1 semester at that highly expensive institution of higher learning we're sending you to, and this is the trash you come back listening to?
It's just a podcast, Dad. I told you, most of what he says is a joke.
Most of what he says? Yeah, most.
But he also talks about stuff nobody else will.
Really? Such as?
Like how everything is rigged, especially against our generation. How guys like me don't have a future because of...
Because of who?
James, come with me. There's something you should hear.
I've got other things to do, Dad. I have a term paper due.
Son, if you want to see another semester at that miserable excuse for a learning institution, you'll come with me.
Whose stuff is this?
Your great-grandfather, Walter Hartmann. He recorded these at the end of his life.
He never talked much about his war experience until he got sick. My dad convinced him to put his memories down for posterity. Thought they might be needed someday. Obviously, he was right.
I was 21 when it all began, a new seminary student, full of myself, certain of what I thought I knew. We used to laugh at them, with their brown shirts, silly marches, cheap flags. How could anyone take them seriously? We thought we were laughing at madness. We were laughing at prophecy.
Berlin's drowning in philosophy, Walter. You can't buy bread with Karl Heim.
And you can't save a soul with steel, but your family manufactures it anyway.
Try telling that to my father. Half his workers are gone since the crash.
Nazis? 100 seats in 1,000. A fringe of fools.
Fools, maybe. But fools who shout loud enough start sounding like prophets.
Werner was right, but we were all young and full of ourselves, laughing while the world rearranged itself into something monstrous.
Mein Kampf. Not for the faint of mind. It's a warning that Germany needs better authors.
600 pages of heavy reading. Finally, a cure for insomnia.
Tucholsky said, "A country is not just what it does, it's what it tolerates."
We tolerate too many fools.
I would be careful quoting Jews these days. Besides, if we only tolerated geniuses, the beer halls would be empty and the Reichstag silent.
We thought ourselves clever that night, boys with opinions, quoting poets and sounding profound. The world outside our window was already changing, but we didn't hear it yet. We only heard the laughter from the radio, the hum of the city calling us out into the night.
Wait, look across the street.
2 Berlins. One dancing, one starving.
Exactly. You see why people listen when someone promises order?
Wake up, patriots! The nation calls you to action!
Do not ignore the truth. Take your paper now.
Order's easy. Justice. That's harder.
This place is infamous. My father calls it a sewer of decadence.
Then we'll wade in for research.
We will march forward. We will crush the opposition. And anyone who disagrees will be silenced. The enemy is not at the gate. The enemy is in our midst.
Berlin's cure for everything. Ridicule. That's not a cure. It's anesthesia.
The chandeliers sparkle, the champagne still flows, the trumpets are trying to cheer. But out past the doorway where no spotlight goes, they're queuing for bread and for beer. The laughter inside sounds a little too loud, a trick to keep sorrow away. While out in the cold, the silent crowd just watches the glitter decay. Oh, Berlin, you're forgetting the tune, that waltz that once gave you a chance. Your pearls and your pain share the same silver spoon, but the city forgets to dance. Outside they wait for morning, inside we toast tonight. It's all the same song, darling, just played under different lights. Oh, Berlin, you're losing your tune. Your laughter's a ghost in advance. The orchestra plays, but nobody sways. The city forgets to dance.
She's right, you know. Those in the bread lines outside don't laugh like this. They're hungry, angry. Maybe laughter's a luxury now.
Enlightenment for the people. The future of our people is in your hands.
They never sleep. Fools and nightmares don't. At least they believe in something. So did every heretic in history.
It is your duty to know the truth about the home front.
Let's go the other way.
The streets belong to us! Power to the workers!
It's too late.
What is it? Look, Herr Becker, the bookseller from the Seminary Street.
What happened here?
Hartman? They're all mad. Both sides. This way, hurry!
So this is Berlin now, theology students dodging bricks in the street.
No, thank you.
It wasn't our fault. The communists started it, the police.
The police are there to contain chaos, not join it. The question is why you were anywhere near it.
I was observing. You always said we should understand the forces shaping Germany.
From a distance, Werner. Not from the gutter.
And you, Herr Hartmann, do they teach riot tactics at the seminary now?
No, sir. We were just caught between them. People are desperate. They'll follow whoever shouts loudest.
Desperation explains nothing. Germany has been shouting for a decade, and it's time someone learned to listen instead. You were seen among the brown shirts tonight. That sort of company is volatile. Germany needs order, yes, but disciplined order. Industry, stability, men who think before they shout. The brown shirts? They're children with torches. Don't mistake noise for purpose. A uniform can hide many things, especially the absence of a conscience.
It's easier to hide behind symbols than to stand alone.
Your friend has the right of it. You're a von Stahl. You'll serve Germany best by keeping your mind clear while others lose theirs.
Maybe those children with torches are the only ones lighting the way.
Conviction without conscience. Heaven help us.
That night, I saw the future flicker in his hearth, powerful, furious, consuming.
Gentlemen, the Church has stood for 19 centuries because it refused to chase every political wind. Germany is sick, yes. The Republic is weak, yes. But it is not for the pulpit to fix Parliament. And yet if the Church is silent about her confession, she becomes a servant of the state. We must defend the Church's freedom to preach Christ. Nothing more, nothing less.
But Pastor Niemöller, what if those political winds threaten the gospel itself? If evil marches under a flag, can the Church still stay silent?
I served in the Kaiser's Navy. I have seen what happens when men lose faith in order. We cannot afford anarchy in the streets again. The brown shirts and the reds. Two sides of the same godless coin. But Germany needs faith restored. Discipline. If a movement promises that, perhaps the Lord can still use it for good.
Even if it silences those who disagree?
The Church must remain the Church, Herr Hartmann, not an opposition party. We guard the altar, not the ballot box. If we lose our confession, gentlemen, there will be no Germany left to save.
He spoke like a man still half in love with the storm he warned against. He believed he was defending the gospel by defending the Church. But sometimes the walls we build for protection become our prison. We didn't know how much it would cost him to choose between Christ and country.
The danger, gentlemen, is not that the Church will be persecuted.
It's that she will be tolerated. Tolerated as long as she stays quiet.
Christ calls us to discipleship, not comfort. Cheap grace is the deadly enemy of the Church.
Cheap grace is grace without the cross, forgiveness without repentance, baptism without obedience.
Pastor Bonhoeffer, do you mean the Church must become political?
No. I mean, the Church must become faithful. And sometimes faithfulness looks political when the state demands your soul.
But the Nazis speak of moral renewal, family, order, decency.
So did Caesar. So does every tyrant who wants a sermon for his sword. They claim the mantle of Christian. They want the language of faith without the life of it. That's why grace must be costly. It costs a man his safety to live the truth.
Niemöller says the Church must guard her confession, not fight the state. And I agree, but the confession is not safe, Herr Hartmann. It names Christ as Lord, which means no one else is.
They spoke the same faith in different tongues. One to protect the Church, the other to awaken it. I would spend years learning which of them was right.
Bonhoeffer talks like virtue just happens. But it doesn't. Not in times like these. He said faith must be costly, that discipleship asks something of us. That sounds like courage, not weakness. Courage or futility? The party is trying to build something real, unity, discipline, strength, a moral rebirth. They call it positive Christianity. Positive Christianity without binding itself confessionally. Fighting the Jewish materialistic spirit, raising the nation above self-interest. Tell me that doesn't sound like faith with a backbone. Faith that serves the state isn't faith. It's propaganda dressed as piety. You know, some people say we've misunderstood Jesus all along, that he wasn't really tied to Judaism, not spiritually. Rosenberg writes that Jesus might have been a heroic, Nordic soul, an Aryan spirit standing against Jewish weakness. That isn't theology. That's mythology with a swastika painted on it. Christ was born of Israel. Every apostle was a Jew. The church itself stands on Jewish scripture. Try to cut out the Old Testament, and you're undermining the very foundation you're standing on. A building without a foundation doesn't stand, Werner. It collapses, always. I'm just saying, maybe the party is trying to make Christianity German again. Something strong, something ours. It was never ours, it was God's. And God chose to build his story through a people that party you defend despises. If you erase the Jewish Christ to make him acceptable to the nation, you don't get a stronger faith, you get an idol. You've seen what's happening in Germany. Do you want more Weimar decadence? Vice on every corner, politicians selling Germany piece by piece? Christ didn't die to make nations strong. He died to make men holy. That's what Bonhoeffer means when he speaks of costly grace, that following Christ means letting the false self die. The pride, the nationalism, the hunger for power. When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. Not die for the nation, Werner, but die to every lie that would take God's place. And what good is that when the streets are burning, when Bolsheviks riot and no one works? We need order before theology. Then your order will be built on fear. And it will crumble because fear isn't faith. Maybe fear is the beginning of obedience. Maybe obedience is what this country needs. Obedience to what? To God? Or to the loudest voice with a flag?
That night, we stopped talking as friends and began talking as strangers. He wanted a faith that would serve Germany. I wanted one that would serve the truth.
Do you think that suits you? Maybe it suits the times. And your conscience? Conscience doesn't rebuild nations.
We thought the music of the age was jazz and laughter. But the drums were already beating, steady and sure. Berlin was dancing and marching to a new, discordant tune.
Animals!
Werner, stop! You should be glad of the sign, Herr Levin. Everyone will know exactly which shop to avoid. Werner, what are you thinking? Walter, walk away! You don't understand, this is bigger than one of their kind. One of their kind? He's a man, Werner. You call this honor? You actually call this order. You call him part of Germany?
That day I saw what faith in fatherland meant when the fatherland had lost its faith. And the boy I'd called brother had found another God. That night I read Mark 8:36. For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Werner's eyes haunted me.
We were no longer students nor friends,
Only two souls caught in a machine neither of us could control.
Is there more?
Yes, there's more.
Dark winds whisper through the broken trees, echoes of hearts that cried on bended knees. A shadow